Welcome to Awakening Mindfulness at Work, a conversation that matters. I'm Pierre Coant.
And I'm Sarah Killeen. We are bringing to you conversations and practices to cultivate presence, calm, and balance in the workplace.
So let's begin right here, right now. Welcome, everyone, to another chat. And I'm so looking forward to having this mindful conversation with Sarah today. I'm going to invite you to just take a moment to arrive. And that could be just a few breaths, few slow and deep breaths, and bringing yourself to a space of being present, listening, paying attention, allowing. So, a few deep breaths. Yeah, thank you. And looking forward to Sarah's topic today.
Great. So, it was funny when we started, I still didn't really know what the topic was, because there's a few things that have caught my attention lately. And your introduction, you said a few words that just told me exactly what the topic was going to be. So great teamwork, as usual. You were talking about, presence and listening and this quality of receptivity, yeah, being able to receive, right? Receptivity. And you say that? Receptivity? Receptiveness? Receptivity, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
that's just me. So just a little disclaimer here. We're not native speakers. So also I think we can speak English really well. There's gonna be a few words like that where French gets in the way, or we'll manage. So there's this line, this quote that I read a few days ago. It's very simple, and it just encapsulates everything we're trying to do here. So this week with Pierre as well, we started a new series, a new mindfulness meditation series. We had, a bit more than 30 people join in, and it was all about arriving as well and tuning in and starting on this journey to become more present. So I'll read you that quote and I'll unpack a little bit what it meant for me and how it's linked to this work that we're doing with our students and to all of us, really. We're all on this journey together, right? So the quote was, mindfulness is not about perfection, it's a practice, a promise to come back to yourself again and again. And this is
Mm.
really, it's really simple, right? There's nothing new there. We're not trying to be perfect. We're practicing. We're practicing. And it's a promise to come back to ourselves again and again, which is something we really emphasize when we start teaching mindfulness and mindfulness meditation, which is this: we can always come back to this one breath, to this right now, and we can always start again. And I think that's a very important, it's simple, and yet it's difficult to always live like that because we tend to leave our lives kind of sometimes turns outside, right? We keep being pulled outside of ourselves by our to-do lists and our teamwork and relationship, and it's kind of we're very often turned outwards, right? We're traveling, we're exploring, we're wanting to reach out wider and wider. And and mindfulness and our practice is really this invitation to come back to our center and to go deeper rather than just wider, right? Going deeper and exploring within, not just exploring outwards, but exploring within and hanging out with ourselves, which is so restorative and it's really the core of the practice. And the analogy that I thought about when I read that quote is, if you think about a friend that you have, a good friend of yours, if you never spend quality time with that friend, you never sit with them or have a cup of tea or catch up or try to understand what's going on in your lives, probably it's not going to be a very nourishing and meaningful relationship, right? Probably you won't really have that substance, that depth. And it's the same thing with ourselves, right? If we don't take that time and that space to hang out with ourselves and spend that quality time with ourselves, we probably won't have that meaningful, really deep relationship with ourselves. So that's, yeah, that's what came up for me when I read that quote, and I just really like this reminder, this reminder to come back again and again. And the use of the word promise as well. It's a very beautiful word, promise, because it's a commitment, right? It's a dedication to this path. And there's hope. It's a promise. It's a hope. There's a lot of tenderness, I think, that word. It's a promise. We're promising ourselves that we will try to come back to ourselves again and again. We'll try to come back to the present again and again. And we won't make it every time. And it won't be perfect. And still, we're promising ourselves we won't give up. And we won't give up on ourselves. And we'll try again. So yeah, I really like that one, and I'm very curious what you think about that, Pierre. And I'm sure you have lots of insights there for you. That's what I wanted to bring to the table today.
Thank you. Wow. I I I love the quote and also that analogy you gave, Sarah, about, if you had a friend and you don't really spend some time with that friend and be present with them, that friendship isn't gonna go places and isn't gonna really give the benefit and that strength and the joy that would otherwise give. And that applies to ourselves. So yeah, that's a great analogy. Thank you. Thank you for adding that to it. Would you mind repeating that quote couple times for us so it kind of sinks in a
Of
little
course,
more?
yes. So mindfulness is not about perfection. It's a practice, and it's a promise to come back to yourself again and again. Mindfulness is not about perfection, it's a practice. And it's a promise to come back to yourself again and again.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not about perfection. And when I think about perfection when it comes to mindfulness, that could be a huge hindrance because with perfection, we start to judge how we're doing in our mindfulness practice. And that judgment can in a way slow us down and always put us in that place we're being measured, and then we get disappointed, and then we sometimes abandon the practice thinking like, oh, this is not working for me. So if we remind ourselves that mindfulness is a practice and allow the imperfection, allow our mind to judge, even to judge, and just to be kind to ourselves, and shift that thinking to being kind and compassionate. That can be a great way to unleash that journey.
Hmm. Yes, I can very much relate to what you're sharing as well. Being a recovering perfectionist myself, um, this sometimes we completely overwhelmed ourselves by trying to have it, perfect. And it is very linked also to this all or nothing approach. It's okay, I'm either going to be practicing 30 minutes a day consistently and never miss a session, or I might as well just not do it at all, because what's the point? You either do it or you don't. Which might sound logical, depending on what's your operating model, and what how you're used to doing things, we'll say. Um, and it's not um, it's not helping us grow, right? It's lacking that very fundamental quality of kindness to ourselves, which is absolutely critical if we want to grow and learn.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful, I remember one of my teachers saying, a few years ago, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So,
Mm,
you know, how you do meditation very often will be how you do everything. So kind of the mindset you bring to the practice, or the set of beliefs that you have that are dictating how you are relating with the practice, those will show up in all areas of life. So in that sense,
yeah.
practice is a wonderful mirror. Practice is the best mirror. I mean, relationships are a great mirror too, but practice is a relationship with yourself. So it is the peak of mirrors. It's showing us, yeah, it's showing us what's
Yeah.
what's making us tick, and how we go about things.
Yeah. Yeah. And what comes to mind is coming back again and again to yourself. This is from the quote. So it's coming back again and again. And this is where mindfulness and mindfulness meditation, it's a practice in resilience. So the mind wanders, we bring it back kindly and gently. It wanders again. We don't start to scold ourselves, oh, it wandered. We just bring it back. So we go, we come back, and that is the practice. It's the resilience practice. And you know, another little nuance here: when the mind wanders in our practice, that moment when we notice, we are already aware. So when we notice, we're like aware, we're here now, we notice. And that is the practice, and that is a happy moment. So our mind is tricky, right? Our mind can go into, oh no, you were away. Um, and if we shift that into realizing that we are aware now, that can shift the way we feel about it, that can shift our energy, and that can reinforce how beautiful that moment is when we suddenly like, oh, look where my mind went. So I'm aware, I'm here, I come back.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot to say about reframing what you're describing as well, and changing the meaning that we attribute to certain events. Or yeah, yeah, that's and I think one thing to emphasize here as well is there's um, it's important to look at what is the kind of energy we bring to this action of coming back again and again, because we could bring the mind back to the present moment, or the breath, or the body, whatever is our anchor in that practice or in that moment. We could bring it with um, a very potentially aggressive energy, or a harsh energy. Come back, you're supposed to be meditating, what are you doing out there, I told you you were supposed to stay on the breath. And um, creating a lot of tension and resistance and tightness, and not helping in the process really. Or we can bring the exact same mind, coming back, calling back that mind from the exact same place back to the breath, with kindness, with acceptance, with tolerance, with nurturing. And that is a lot more conducive to enjoying the practice. And enjoying the practice, as it's not going to happen every time. We can't always enjoy the practice. But if we never enjoy the practice, I can tell you for sure you're not going to stick to the practice. So it's not about enjoying the practice every time. And it's important to bring enjoyment into the practice, which is why, personally, I love practicing in nature. And we'll be speaking more about that, I guess, in the future. But bringing that element of enjoying the practice is really important. So making ourselves feel bad about the way we're practicing is not going to help.
This made me
Yeah.
think about the puppy analogy,
Yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah, definitely.
our
Do you want to
our
tell the
teacher
story? Yeah.
Yeah, our teacher Jack Cornfield talks about the mind. It's like a puppy, when the puppy goes places, you don't go and beat the puppy up and say, "Hey, you're not supposed to get lost or go places." You just go gently, Hey, give them some care, and hey, sit. Let's try again. Let's practice. So that's how we want to approach our mind. It's not scolding ourselves when the mind wanders and judging. It's more, hey, I found you. Welcome
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
and
And you know
coming
what's
back
funny
again
is,
and again.
yeah, when I first heard that metaphor, of course, I thought it sounds horrible to beat the puppy. Of course, I would never do that. But I didn't really grasp. It didn't really fully resonate because I never had a puppy, right? And now that I've had a puppy and I have a dog, I know so much about positive reinforcement and how to train a dog. And it's all about this, positively reinforcing the fact that the puppy is coming back, rather than, scolding for
Yeah,
not coming back in the first place. And now it's a complete new dimension to the metaphor, which is interesting. But Yeah, thank you so much for your insights, and maybe we can just wrap up here. We talked about so many things in the last few minutes. Really, this intention as well, right? So what we're talking about is there's lots of different intentions going on. So the intention to gift ourselves the gift of practice, the gift of coming back, the gift of spending time with ourselves, the gift of developing that meaningful relationship with ourselves, and the intention to try to do it gently, to try to yeah, really be kind and compassionate to ourselves in the process. Well, yeah, so that's what I will take away right now from this conversation. What about you, Pierre? Any last word for our mindfulness
Uh,
friends?
yeah. Last word would be, practice is one of the key words here. And I look at practice as being intention plus action. Intentions are great and it's a great launching pad, but if they just stay intention without the action, um, they're not going to materialize. So, and that's what the practice is. So, thank you all for your practice. Thank you, Sarah, for the wonderful topic, and we'll see you all at the next episode.
Great. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you, everyone.